Gopijanavalabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopijanavalabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Rajajanarandana Yashodanandana Rajajanarandana Nativa Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Vijanavalabha Girivardhari Vijanavalabha Girivardhari Shodanandana Rajajanarandana Yashodanandana Rajajanarandana Nativa Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Madhava Kunjavihari Jaya Radha Madhava Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radha. Jaya Radha Samasundara Samasundara. Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Prabhupada. Nitya Go Hare Ba, Hare Ba, Hare Ba, Hare Ba. Nitya Go Hare Ba, Hare Ba, Hare Ba, Hare Ba. Acharya Sudhir Sudhir Divine Guest, Abhichan Bhakti Swami Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai, Iskan Pamacharya Divine Guest Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai, Yogi Paparam Sabri Acharya Sudhir Sudhir Divine Guest, Shri Bhakti Swami Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai, Anand Guru Vaishnava Ki Jai, Namacharya Shri Vidas Thakur Ki Jai, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Gaura Bhaktan Ki Jai Shri Shiva Hare Krishna Gopal Shyam Radha Kuli Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadip Dham Ki Jai Mayapur Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Yamuna Mai Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Samaved Bhaktavan Ki Jai Kandarajman Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande. All glory is to the simple devotees. All glory is to the simple devotees. All glory is to the simple devotees. All glory, Shri Guru and Shri Guranga. All glory, Shri Prabhupada Ki.
Hare Krishna and welcome to all the devotees and family members to our daily prayer session in memory of Kusumben and Kaushik Kumar Hira. We're presenting an overview of Bhagavad Gita so that they can benefit as well as we by associating with the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. Let us start with the prayers. Om Jnanatimibhandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatha Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamsya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagat Pate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Prem Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're doing a brief overview of chapter 11, the universal form, 55 verses in this beautiful, wonderful chapter. Bhagavad Gita, as it is based on the teachings of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So I received a memory from Meenakshi, which I like to read out for her mother. As most of the family has shared, Mummy was a very quiet and content person. Although she endured great suffering in her life, she never ever complained about her situation. Her hope was always to have her family happy and know that she prayed that all her children would have a good life. Her prayers were answered and all her children are settled. In her later part of her life, she lived with Mukesh and Johnny. They both took good care of her, and Mukesh, as she would affectionately call Mukut or Mukt for everything, and she relied on him for almost everything. We loved her and will miss her dearly. Regards to Johnny. Johnny was not just my big brother. He was a friend, a brother, and an inspiration to us all. I remember how much effort he put in my 21st party by making my outfit and arranging the party to doing my hair on my wedding day. Our trip overseas with all the issues at the border control and all our local trips to Sun City, Durban, and many others. These are all memories I will forever cherish. You will always be in my heart, and we love you. Jai Shri Krishna. Johnny was very talented and a soft, gentle soul. Thank you for those wonderful memories. So yesterday we heard about the Lord's energies, and in the scriptures there are many statements that says the Lord and his energies are one and different. And Krishna also speaks in this way in terms of his energies. Krishna is said to be Shaktiman, is the possessor of energies, and the energies are Shakti. At the same time, the Lord can use his energies and transform his energies in whichever way he desires. So here I'll share one example of how the Lord manifests and he can transform his energies according to his sweet will. We have a great devotee in the 1500s called Gopal Bhatta Goswami. And Gopal Bhatta Goswami would daily worship his Shalagram Shilas. So you can see here, Shalagram Shilas are the forms of Lord Vishnu in the Gandaki River. You find them there. They self-manifested deities in the form of stones. And it's ascribed that the demigods, they appear as fish and they carve different symbols, different forms within these shilas. So these shilas, you don't need to do any prayers for them. They are non-different from the Supreme Lord, 100%. They self-manifested deities, but they like stones, in the shape of stone. So you can see Gopal Bhatta Goswami would worship. And one day he received, it was on Nashinga Chaturasi, appearance of Lord Shingadev, he received some donation of cloth for his deities. And Gopal Bhatta Goswami was thinking that I can, unfortunately, I don't have a deity form where I can dress the deity with these beautiful donations that I received. And in this way, he was meditating, and the Lord, in reciprocation to his request and love, one of the Shilas, the Nishinga Shila, manifested into a deity of Krishna. And here we see this beautiful deity of Radharaman. So one of these stones manifested and appeared in this beautiful form of Radharaman. And this deity, which is self-manifested, is very amazing. The details, like for example, here you can see the Lord has teeth. He's got toenails. He's got specific dentures or markings of his body, which generally, if somebody is carving a deity, they will not be able to carve those. Like you can't carve teeth in a deity that you're actually carving. So this is how this beautiful deity is worshipped, and there are many wonderful pastimes in relation to this deity. You can read on that. So here we can see how the Lord can manifest his energies in different ways in reciprocating with the love of his devotees. Chapter 11, Lord Krishna grants Arjuna divine vision and reveals his spectacular unlimited form as the cosmic universe. Thus, he conclusively establishes his divinity. Krishna explains that his own all-beautiful human-like form is the original form of Godhead. One can perceive this form only by devotional service, pure devotional service. So the link of this chapter, from chapter 10 to chapter 11, is that in the last verse of chapter 10, the Lord said, with a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support the entire universe. And Arjuna now wishes to see that all-pervasive form of the Lord. So although Krishna is driving Arjuna's chariot, he pervades and supports the entire universe, not just this universe, all the universes. There are unlimited number of universes. Arjuna therefore wishes to see Krishna's all-pervading form, and Arjuna requests Krishna to reveal his universal form. This chapter has 5 different sections. First, Arjuna's request. Then Sanjay, he's able to see everything that's happening. From he's sitting in Hastinapur, front of Dhritarashtra, and he's able to see what's happening on the battlefield, and he then narrates this universal form's description. And then we hear the description of the universal form. Arjuna sees it, he offers different prayers, and then he requests the Lord to please show him his original two-arm form, back to his original two-arm form, and then the Lord shows his Narayan form, and then the two-arm form. So in text 3, it is, the Lord says, it is ascribed, O greatest of all personalities, O supreme form, though I see you here before me in your actual position, as you have described yourself, I wish to see how you have entered into the cosmic manifestation. I want to see that form of yours. So Arjuna is requesting Krishna. Now, why Arjuna requests Krishna to show his universal form? Few reasons. One, to establish Krishna's divinity for all. Second reason, to convince others, although he does not have any personal desire and is completely satisfied to see the Lord in the form of Shri Krishna. So Arjuna, on behalf of everyone else, he's asking Krishna, you say you God, so please show me your universal form. 3, to avoid imposters. He wants to set a criteria for in the future there will be so many imposters who will pose as incarnations. Srila Prabhupada would say there's an incarnation in every street corner in India. So anyone that claims, oh, I'm God, well, no problem. You God, show me your universal form. You should be able to show the universal form, which Arjuna is requesting Krishna. Because Krishna already in chapter 10, so many verses, Krishna has said, I am the supreme. So Arjuna is saying, okay, if you're the supreme, show me, prove it. And this is one way to prove. Then Arjuna wants to substantiate Krishna's statement that Krishna said, not only theoretically or practically, but actually show his form. So Krishna, he's saying, and he's also proving, right? Now, we have to understand God has different features. God can be realized in different features. For many, God just means the creator, the source. And that's good. That's a very wonderful level to appreciate and accept. That if we look around us in the material world, just like where you're sitting, look at every aspect of if you look at every aspect of creation and what's within your purview, you will find that every single thing, like the computer you're using, your phone you're using, the house that you're staying in, it's all created by, Madhuri is sharing the lamp, ghee lamp, for everyone to take some mercy from Lord Nishingadev. Let's see. Okay, there we are. Thank you. So whatever you see is created by someone. It's not like your computer, and there was a big bang. One day you came into your room and there was a big bang explosion, and all of a sudden the computer is there. Or your cell phone came by a big bang. No, nothing comes by a big bang. The only thing that comes by a big bang is a destruction. Creation does not come by a big bang. Creation comes by an intelligent person. Somebody designs it, somebody creates. So if you see everything around you, the clothes you're wearing, the ceiling, the walls, the cupboards, the computer, everything, no matter how big or small, is created by someone or a machine that is created by someone. So like that, if you extend it further, the trees, the plants, the mountains, the waters, the oceans, the universes, the planets, they're all created by someone who we call the creator, God. Ultimately, when you understand, okay, if God is the creator, then he has to have a personality, he has to have an identity, he has to have a name, a form. Who is that? Eventually, when you research further into the Vedas, you will come to the conclusion that it is Krishna. Then there are different other aspects. God also has an impersonal feature. Krishna has an effulgence that's emanating from him. And that effulgence is what we call the Brahma Jyoti. When people say God is light, that's the feature that they're referring to. Then God is also as a super soul. Krishna already mentioned that in the heart. Super soul is also in the heart, in the region of the heart, and is also in every atom and in between every atom. And then there is the personal feature of God, Bhagavan, which Arjuna is seeing face to face. In text 4, Arjuna pleads and does not order Krishna to see the form. So that is also very, very important. Many people, they command, they demand, show me God. God is independent and he holds full right not to reveal himself to anyone that does not have the proper mentality to see him. It's not that you cannot see God, but you need the qualifications to see God. So instead of asking, show me God, Srila Prabhupada would say, rather act in such a way that God wants to see you. And if you have the proper qualities, then God will definitely reveal himself to you. So only by revelation and by mercy of the Lord can one see God. And it's not possible by mental speculation or by perception of material, by the perception by the material senses. Because a living entity is infinitesimal. It's a very tiny, small spark. And Arjuna is understanding his limitations and he's begging, my Lord, you can give me the eyes. You can allow me to see. The Lord is addressed here as Yogeshwar to point out that he has inconceivable potencies by which the infinite can be revealed to the finite. And Krishna is not obliged to reveal himself until one fully surrenders and Krishna constantly engages in loving transcendental service. Many times people would ask Srila Prabhupada, have you seen God? And Prabhupada would say, well, if I tell you yes, what difference going to make? How are you going to verify it? Another time somebody asked Srila Prabhupada, have you seen God? Prabhupada said, if I give you the answer, will you accept it? And the man said yes, and Prabhupada said yes. Another time, devotee asked Srila Prabhupada, many people say there's no God. Prabhupada said, well, if they don't see God, naturally they'll say there's no God. But there are so many souls that are seeing Krishna, and therefore they know God exists. One more time, another devotee said, another guest said, Swamiji, do you? In fact, he was challenging, so he stood up and he said, Swamiji, do you see God? Prabhupada said, yes, you're in the way, sit down. So many ways Prabhupada would reveal the identity of the Supreme Lord. Now, this universal form that Arjuna is going to see, it's not the first time that the Lord has revealed the Virat Rupa, the universal form. The Lord had revealed it many times in his past times. When Mother Yashoda one time, the coward boys complained that Krishna ate mud. And Mother Yashoda came and said, show him, Krishna, open your mouth, I want to see. As soon as Krishna opened his mouth, Mother Yashoda saw the universal form, whole universe. 500 years ago, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we said Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, and Advaita Acharya asked the Lord to please show the universal form. So here also we see the Lord is verifying that he is the Supreme Lord and he can show the universal form. This form that Arjuna requests the Lord to see, this form is called the Kala Rupa, the form of time. The form as time. This means that this specific form of the Vishwarup, of the universal form, has everything in it, past, present, and future at the same time. And therefore, when Arjuna is seeing this, because he's seeing past, present, and future, and everything at the same time, it's a very bewildering form. One specific thing that Arjuna wanted to see in this form, because it's showing past, present, and future, just like many people, they like to understand what's my future like. They go to an astrologer, please tell me my future. So they want to know the future, they're curious. So Arjuna also was curious to see the future, especially of the battlefield. And Krishna kept telling Arjuna that I've already killed them. And this is what Arjuna wanted to see, and he definitely sees this in the universal form. So I'm going to play a narration of this beautiful description.
Chapter 11. The Universal Form. Arjuna said, "By my hearing the instructions you have kindly given me about these most confidential spiritual subjects, my illusion has now been dispelled. O lotus-eyed one, I have heard from you in detail about the appearance and disappearance of every living entity and have realized your inexhaustible glories. O greatest of all personalities, O supreme form, though I see you here before me in your actual position as you have described yourself, I wish to see how you have entered into this cosmic manifestation. I want to see that form of yours. If you think that I am able to behold your cosmic form, O my Lord, O Master of all mystic power, then kindly show me that unlimited universal self." The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "My dear Arjuna, O son of Pritha, see now my opulences, hundreds of thousands of varied divine and multicolored forms. O best of the Bharatas, see here the different manifestations of Adityas, Vasus, Rudras, Ashvini Kumars, and all the other demigods. Behold the many wonderful things which no one has ever seen or heard of before. O Arjuna, whatever you wish to see, behold at once in this body of mine. This universal form can show you whatever you now desire to see, and whatever you may want to see in the future. Everything moving and non-moving is here completely in one place. But you cannot see me with your present eyes. Therefore I give you divine eyes. Behold my mystic opulence." Sanjaya said, "O king, having spoken thus, the Supreme Lord of all mystic power, the Personality of Godhead, displayed his universal form to Arjuna. Arjuna saw in that universal form unlimited mouths, unlimited eyes, unlimited wonderful visions. The form was decorated with many celestial ornaments and bore many divine upraised weapons. He wore celestial garlands and garments, and many divine scents were smeared all over his body. All was wondrous, brilliant, unlimited, all expanding. If hundreds of thousands of suns were to rise at once into the sky, their radiance might resemble the effulgence of the Supreme Person in that universal form. At that time, Arjuna could see in the universal form of the Lord the unlimited expansions of the universe, situated in one place, although divided into many, many thousands. Then, bewildered and astonished, his hair standing on end, Arjuna bowed his head to offer obeisances, and with folded hands began to pray to the Supreme Lord. Arjuna said, "My dear Lord Krishna, I see assembled in your body all the demigods and various other living entities. I see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower, as well as Lord Shiva and all the sages and divine serpents. O Lord of the universe, O universal form, I see in your body many, many arms, bellies, mouths, and eyes, expanded everywhere without limit. I see in you no end, no middle, and no beginning. Your form is difficult to see because of its glaring effulgence, spreading on all sides like blazing fire or the immeasurable radiance of the sun. Yet I see this glowing form everywhere, adorned with various crowns, clubs, and discs. You are the supreme primal objective. You are the ultimate resting place of all this universe. You are inexhaustible, and you are the oldest. You are the maintainer of the eternal religion, the Personality of Godhead. This is my opinion. You are without origin, middle, or end. Your glory is unlimited. You have numberless arms, and the sun and moon are your eyes. I see you with blazing fire coming forth from your mouth, burning this entire universe by your own radiance. Although you are one, you spread throughout the sky and the planets and all space between. O Great One, seeing this wondrous and terrible form, all the planetary systems are perturbed. All the hosts of demigods are surrendering before you and entering into you. Some of them, very much afraid, are offering prayers with folded hands. Hosts of great sages and perfected beings crying, "All peace," are praying to you by singing the Vedic hymns. All the various manifestations of Lord Shiva, the Adityas, the Vasus, the Sadyas, the Vishvadevas, the two Ashvis, the Maruts, the Forefathers, the Gandharvas, the Yakshas, the Asuras, and the perfected demigods are beholding you in wonder. O mighty armed one, all the planets with their demigods are disturbed at seeing your great form with its many faces, eyes, arms, thighs, legs, and bellies, and your many terrible teeth. As they are disturbed, so am I. O all-pervading Vishnu, seeing you with your many radiant colors touching the sky, your gaping mouths, and your great glowing eyes, my mind is perturbed by fear. I can no longer maintain my steadiness or equilibrium of mind. O Lord of Lords, O refuge of the worlds, please be gracious to me. I cannot keep my balance seeing your blazing death-like faces and awful teeth. In all directions I am bewildered. All the sons of Dhritarashtra, along with their allied kings, and Bhishma, Drona, Karna, and our chief soldiers also, are all rushing into your fearful mouths, and some I see trapped with heads smashed between your teeth. As the many waves of the river flow into the ocean, so do all these great warriors enter, blazing into your mouths. I see all people rushing full speed into your mouths, as moths dash to destruction in a blazing fire. O Vishnu, I see you devouring all people from all sides with your flaming mouths, covering all the universe with your effulgence. You are manifest with terrible scorching rays. O Lord of Lords, so fierce of form, please tell me who you are. I offer my obeisances unto you. Please be gracious to me. You are the primal Lord. I want to know about you, for I do not know what your mission is. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Time I am, the great destroyer of the worlds, and I have come here to destroy all people, with the exception of you, the Pandavas. All the soldiers here on both sides will be slain. Therefore get up, prepare to fight and win glory, conquer your enemies, and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Savyasachi, can be but an instrument in the fight. Drona, Bhishma, Jayadratha, Karna, and the other great warriors have already been destroyed by me. Therefore kill them and do not be disturbed. Simply fight, and you will vanquish your enemies in battle. Sanjaya said to Dhritarashtra, O king, after hearing these words from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the trembling Arjuna offered obeisances with folded hands again and again. He fearfully spoke to Lord Krishna in a faltering voice as follows. Arjuna said, O master of the senses, the world becomes joyful upon hearing your name, and thus everyone becomes attached to you. Although the perfected beings offer you their respectful homage, the demons are afraid, and they flee here and there. All this is rightly done. O great one, greater even than Brahma, you are the original creator. Why then should they not offer their respectful obeisances unto you? O limitless one, God of gods, refuge of the universe, you are the invincible source, the cause of all causes, transcendental to this material manifestation. You are the original personality of Godhead, the oldest, the ultimate sanctuary of this manifested cosmic world. You are the knower of everything, and you are all that is knowable. You are the supreme refuge, above the material modes. O limitless form, this whole cosmic manifestation is pervaded by you. You are the air, and you are the supreme controller. You are fire, you are water, and you are the moon. You are Brahma, the first living creature, and you are the great-grandfather. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto you 1,000 times, and again, and yet again. Obeisances to you from the front, from behind, and from all sides. O unbounded power, you are the master of limitless might. You are all-pervading, and thus you are everything. Thinking of you as my friend, I have rashly addressed you, O Krishna, O Yadava, O my friend, not knowing your glories. Please forgive whatever I may have done in madness or in love. I have dishonored you many times, jesting as we relaxed, lay on the same bed, or sat or ate together, sometimes alone, and sometimes in front of many friends. O infallible one, please excuse me for all those offenses. You are the father of this complete cosmic manifestation, of the moving and the non-moving. You are its worshipable chief, the supreme spiritual master. No one is equal to you, nor can anyone be one with you. How then could there be anyone greater than you within the three worlds, O Lord of immeasurable power? You are the supreme Lord, to be worshipped by every living being. Thus I fall down to offer you my respectful obeisances and ask your mercy. as a father tolerates the impudence of his son, or a friend tolerates the impertinence of a friend, or a wife tolerates the familiarity of her partner, please tolerate the wrongs I may have done you. After seeing this universal form, which I have never seen before, I am gladdened, but at the same time my mind is disturbed with fear. Therefore, please bestow your grace upon me, and reveal again your form as the personality of Godhead, O Lord of Lords, O abode of the universe. O universal form, O thousand-armed, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, My dear Arjuna, happily have I shown you by my internal potency this supreme universal form within the material world. No one before you has ever seen this primal form, unlimited and full of glaring effulgence. O best of the Kuru warriors, no one before you has ever seen this universal form of mine, for neither by studying the Vedas, nor by performing sacrifices, nor by charity, nor by pious activities, nor by severe penances, can I be seen in this form in the material world. You have been perturbed and bewildered by seeing this horrible feature of mine. Now let it be finished. My devotee, be free again from all disturbances. With a peaceful mind, you can now see the form you desire. Sanjaya said to Dhritarashtra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, having spoken thus to Arjuna, displayed his real four-armed form, and at last showed his two-armed form, thus encouraging the fearful Arjuna. When Arjuna saw Krishna in his original form, he said, O Janardana, seeing this human-like form so very beautiful, I am now composed in mind, and I am restored to my original nature. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, My dear Arjuna, this form of mine you are now seeing is very difficult to behold. Even the demigods are ever seeking the opportunity to see this form which is so dear. The form you are seeing with your transcendental eyes cannot be understood simply by studying the Vedas, nor by undergoing serious penances, nor by charity, nor by worship. It is not by these means that one can see me as I am. My dear Arjuna, only by undivided devotional service can I be understood as I am, standing before you, and can thus be seen directly. Only in this way can you enter into the mysteries of my understanding. My dear Arjuna, he who engages in my pure devotional service, free from the contaminations of fruitive activities and mental speculation, he who works for me, who makes me the supreme goal of his life, and who is friendly to every living being, he certainly comes to me.
So very wonderful description and narration. So text 32 and 33, the Lord said, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Time I am the great destroyer of the worlds, and I have come here to destroy all people, with the exception of you, the Pandavas. All the soldiers here on both sides will be slain. Therefore get up, prepare to fight and win glory. Conquer your enemies and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are all already put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Sabyasachi, can be but an instrument in the fight. So the Lord uses the word Sabyasachi, and Sabyasachi is referring to Arjuna, which means one who fights ambidextrously. He can use both his hands. In fact, Arjuna, he had a Gandiva bow, and his Gandiva bow, just by thinking, if he thought that his Gandiva bow needs to be in his right hand, immediately the bow would be in his right hand. If he just thinks his bow needs to be in a left hand, instantly his bow would come into his left hand. So in this way, he would be able to fight both directions just because he can move the bow just by thinking. So he was very expert. Then the Lord says Arjuna should become nimitta matram, which means become an instrument. The Lord already has made arrangements. Arjuna just needs to become the instrument to manifest the desire of the Lord. And that's a sign of intelligence, to recognize that the whole world is moving under the plan of the Lord. You find in many scriptures, just like in the Quran, it says, not a leaf falls without the wish of Allah. In the Vedic scriptures also, it's explained, not a blade of grass moves without the sanction of Krishna. So everything is arranged by the Supreme Lord. Naturally, the Lord, he sanctions our activities, especially in the material world, but his ultimate desire is that we surrender to him and return back to the spiritual world. The Lord's plan are very specific in this material world, and Arjuna's motivation is that he wants to fulfill the Lord's desire. Then in text 50 and 54, in 50, Krishna shows his transcendental form, Vishnu form, and then he then shows his two-arm personal form, the original form. This two-arm form is the original form of God. In the Bible, it says man is made in the image of God. So man has this two-arm form. And when it says man is made in the image of God, that means Krishna also, the original form of the Lord, is two-armed. The forms of the Narayan features, they are in Vaikuntha, and they have certain functionality or certain functions. In text 54, which is the last verse, Krishna says, Bhaktya tu ananya shakya aham eva vido arjuna gnatum drashtum chatatvena praveshtum cha parantapa. My dear Arjuna, only by undivided devotional service can I be understood as I am, standing before you, and can thus be seen directly. Only this way can you enter into the mysteries of my understanding. So Krishna is not saying you cannot see me. You can see God, but we need to have the qualifications to see God. And what's the qualification? Bhaktya, undivided. Bhaktya tu ananyaya, undivided devotional service. That means no interruption. The devotional service, our loving reciprocation, our service to the Lord, it's not interrupted. Like we may practice spiritual life, say we may meditate for half an hour, 30 minutes, 1 hour, then we take a break. Or you could say that's the only time we spend with the Lord, and then the rest of the time we're doing other things, right? Watching Netflix, doing things, engage in other activities, which may be directly or indirectly related to the Lord or not related at all. So we have a break, or we take a holiday. Okay, enough of chanting, enough of service, I need to go take a break, holiday. Let me go to Sun City, let me go to different places. That is not Ananya. Ananya means undivided, uninterrupted. Then it also has to be completely pure, no material, no motivation. I'm not doing service to get some reward, get some fame, adoration, money, followers. I'm not performing service for some motive. So that's the quality, and it has to be favorably performed for the pleasure of the Lord. Kamsa, many of the demons, they constantly thought of Krishna. They were thinking of Krishna 24 hours a day, which is one of the activities of devotional service. Man mana bhava mad bhakta. Always think of me. The demons like Kamsa and Ravana, they were always thinking of Krishna, but unfavorably. So we need to think of Krishna favorably. Now, to completely love the Lord, to completely engage in the devotional service to the Lord, undeviated, uninterrupted, unmotivated, favorably, needs to be cultivated. So therefore, we practice spiritual life daily as a cultivation. We start with 5 minutes, we start increase it to 10, we go half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours, 5 hours, 8 hours, 24 hours. Gradually we increase our devotion and love. As we do this, and once we perfect our devotion, we have complete, no impurities, 100%, we completely love the Supreme Lord. That's when the Lord will reveal our identity, and his supreme identity and our eternal relationship will now be rekindled, and we can then return back to the spiritual world. So it's a journey, but at least the journey starts somewhere, even if it's for a few minutes. Like now we spend already 11 days hearing about the Lord. This is, for many of us, it may have been a start of a journey. For others, it may have been nurturing and nourishing our journey. We all on different levels, but the goal is to constantly increase our loving service and relationship with the Lord. Then text 55, the Lord is now giving the essence of Bhagavad Gita. Mat karma krit, engage in doing my work, Krishna says. Mat param, make me the supreme goal. Mad bhakta, engage in my devotional service. Sangha varjita, free from contamination of fruitive acts and mental speculation. Nirvarai sarva bhuteshu, friendly to all living beings. So these are qualities that the Lord is requesting, the characteristics of pure devotion. Friendly to all living beings. Very interesting. Krishna is not saying, become inimical to all beings. No, friendly to all living beings, and not just human beings. Birds, bees, insects, reptiles, all living beings. We should be friendly. Because why? They are part and parcel of Krishna. We are all connected. We don't exploit Krishna's energies because they belong to Krishna. We don't exploit any living entity because why? We are all part and parcel of Krishna's family. And when we act in this way for the pleasure of Krishna, Krishna says, Yasamam eti pandava. He certainly comes to me.
Chapter 11, the universal form. The Sanskrit word rupa means form. One of the biggest theological debates among great thinkers has gone on for centuries. The question over whether God is personal or impersonal. Some argue that accepting a personal form of God amounts to anthropomorphic projection of our qualities on Him. Krishna, however, confirms in numerous passages of the Bhagavad Gita that He manifests in many ways, impersonally and personally. He also categorically states that the personal is the original form and the basis of the impersonal. This is further confirmed in this chapter after Krishna displays another of his innumerable forms known as Vishwarupa, the universal form. Evam etad yatha tattvam atmanam parameshwaram drashtum ichhami te rupam aishwaram purushottama. O greatest of all personalities, O supreme form, though I see you here before me in your actual position, as you have described yourself, I wish to see how you have entered into this cosmic manifestation. I want to see that form of yours. The acronym for this chapter is Rupa, R for request, U for universal form, P for prayers of Arjuna, and A, the armed form. Verses 1 to 4 take the theme of request R. Arjuna requests to see the universal form. One may ask why he makes such a request, since he can see Krishna and is completely satisfied as confirmed in the previous chapter. Clearly, Arjuna doesn't have any personal agenda in seeing the universal form, but he requests the vision for other reasons. Firstly, he wants to prove without doubt Krishna's position as a source of everything. And secondly, set a standard for anyone in future who claims to be God to show similar opulence. Unfortunately, our modern world is nevertheless plagued with so-called incarnations and God-men, claiming to be the latest saviors of society by dint of the fact that they have mustered up some popularity or mastered a few magic tricks. Text 5 to 14 cover the theme of universal form, U. Krishna grants Arjuna's request and shows his universal form. While God is the source of this universe, He is simultaneously the universe itself in the sense that He is present within His own creation. For example, in my speech, you can probably understand something about me. The effect of my speaking tell us something about the cause, the speaker, and in that sense, the cause is present within the effect. Similarly, God is the source of the universe, but is simultaneously encompassing the universe. That is the universal form. It's not that God is the sum of the parts, but rather everything is contained within God. In that fearful vision of the universal form, Arjuna could see all living beings, all material objects, and the entirety of the past, present, and future. Verses 15 to 45 cover the theme of P, prayers of Arjuna. Arjuna falteringly prays to the universal form, awed by the greatness of Krishna, and begs forgiveness for having previously treated him with familiarity and friendship. Most religious traditions do not go beyond this majestic understanding of God. God, who is the creator, the all-knowing and the infallible. It often leads to a fearful exchange with God, lacking intimacy, sweetness, and personal relationship. Having seen enough, Arjuna anxiously requests Krishna to once again reveal his two-armed form so that he can again relish the intimacy of that interaction. Verses 46 to 55 cover the theme of A, armed form. Arjuna requests to see the Manushya Rupa, the human-like form of Krishna, around whose neck is swinging a garland of flowers beautified with the moon locket, whose two hands are adorned with the flute and jeweled ornaments, and whose graceful, threefold bending form attracts the mind of his devotees. Ancient Sanskrit texts describe Krishna as Raso Vaisaha, the very embodiment of affectionate relationships, loving relish, and transcendental sweetness. God is a person who is full of color, character, and bliss. He knows how to have a good time and is much more interested in relishing the sweetness of pure love than the ritualistic worship of those who approach him in awe and reverence. Bhaktya tu ananyaya shakya aham eva vidorjuna gyatum drishtum cha tattvena praveshtum cha parantapa. My dear Arjuna, only by undivided devotional service can I be understood as I am, standing before you, and can thus be seen directly. Only in this way you can enter into the mysteries of my understanding.
And that brings us to the end of this wonderful chapter, chapter 11, the universal form. Thank you very much, Hare Krishna. Are there any questions or comments anyone has? If there is no questions, then what I will do is I will stop the recording, and then we can proceed with our meet and greet as we discussed yesterday.